took the reins and they were all pro-choice America, pledging to protect and defend American values of freedom and privacy. A successful elected official in her native state of Montana, Nancy applied her experiences as a candidate in overseeing NARAL Pro-Choice America's political program in 2006, which helped fuel the gain of 23 pro-choice seats in the United States House and 3 in the United States Senate. NARAL Pro-Choice America also helped defeat 3 anti-choice ballot measures, including the repeal of an abortion ban in South Dakota that was designed as a direct threat to Roe v. Wade. In that year's post-election analysis, National Journal listed NARAL Pro-Choice America as one of the top 5 major political organizations and a leader among groups that mobilized their grassroots and got voters to the polls in the most competitive races. So with that, thank you, Nancy.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. It's early, and I know many of you are probably enjoying the city's activities, so we're glad that you joined us this morning. Thanks to Cecile, my colleague and friend. We work together on so many fronts across the country on so many issues. So it's great always to share the podium with Cecile. And of course our colleagues in the medical community, because here in Colorado, as Cecile mentioned, this issue will not stay within the borders of Colorado. It will indeed be a model, if you will, a testing ground here in Colorado for them to try here and across the country. So you are at the forefront here in Colorado in the importance of defeating 48. Let me also thank the coalition, because here in Colorado it is a huge coalition of folks that are working together. That's how we make it happen. It is the partnerships that we build in states that really make the difference. No one organization, no one individual can do that. It is the partnership of all of us that work on this issue. A special shout out to NARAL Pro-Choice Colorado. They had a wonderful event last night, so I think they are enjoying their morning coffee. Let me just say, this has been a strategy. And it's a strategy that if you happen to just go take a look at the National Right to Life's website, there will be no talk about this ballot initiative. There is no talk about what's going on in South Dakota. There is no talk about what is happening in California. It's because they want it under the radar screen. They want it to be out of the public sight because they know they've overstepped and they know that they are out of touch with America, especially on an initiative like this. Now, if you happen to call the folks over at the National Right to Life and ask them what their position on birth control is, they won't answer. They will not publicly answer. So I think it behooves all of us to keep that out in front so America knows, Americans know, the importance of what's happening within the Right to Life movement and how they are out of step and out of touch. There is a split within the movement, and those of you that watch how movements work, sometimes the people on the ground, the people that have been waiting since Ronald Reagan to overturn Roe versus Wade, they've been waiting, they've been told that if they vote a certain way, by golly, Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned. It hasn't happened yet. But the strategy now is that people on the ground are tired of waiting for the people in Washington, and they're taking it into their own hands. And they are putting these things on the ballot. They are electing state legislators that are doing it in the state legislatures. And the third prong of this strategy is the courts. And not only the Supreme Court of the country, but it is those lower courts here in states and the federal courts. So, ballot initiatives like 48. What's happening in South Dakota? There is one sole strategy there, and that is to work it up, to get it through the local and federal courts, to eventually get to the Supreme Court so that Roe versus Wade is overturned. When I talk about multiple strategies, ballot initiative 1, legislatures the other, 550 anti-choice laws enacted since 1995. That's the testing ground. Push them through those lower courts, make sure that they can get to the Supreme Court. You probably have noticed that in the states we are seeing much more discussion around who's elected to the courts, whether it's at the state Supreme Court or who's appointed at those justices. Keep in mind that George Bush had appointed 250 federal judges at all levels. So we're stacking the deck here. We're stacking state legislatures. We're stacking, in essence, the strategy is to stack ballot initiatives, so we are constantly out there fighting those with the ultimate goal again, overturn Roe versus Wade, and do that by stacking the federal courts and eventually the Supreme Courts. You've seen it here in Colorado this week, but there is a roadshow out there and they never give up. And I think, again, what you see on the billboards is an overstepping because most Americans know that government and politicians don't belong in this very personal, private decision. So what's the cause and effect? As Cecile had said, ballot initiatives like here in Colorado become the testing ground to see if it can be duplicated to other parts of the country. And if it's successful here, then it becomes a formula to try somewhere else. Now, I think when we defeated the ban in South Dakota in 2006, it's back again, but when we defeated it in 2006, it was Republican and independent voters in that state that so clearly understood that politicians and government don't belong in this most personal, private decision. And out here in the West, that's why, I'm very confident that we're going to win in Colorado, defeat this measure, is because people in the West understand that government should not have a say in all of their lives. And it's a little bit different once you get past Texas and past that kind of religious fundamentalism, and you get into the West, that independence to say we understand the role of government and the importance of government, but we also understand where they don't belong. Now, the other part was the Supreme Court, because if this were to pass, and we're doing everything we can in partnership with our colleagues to defeat it. But if it were to pass, we know then there would be a case, there would be suit filed. Then we know it would start through the court systems. Then we know that eventually it could get to this sitting Supreme Court, not this quickly, but this Supreme Court, where we have the Justices Alito, Scalia, Thomas, Roberts, and the chance that any kind of model ballot initiative like this could actually, again, threaten Roe. Let me just say that it is a partnership. It's important we defeat this here in Colorado. It's important that we defeat it in South Dakota, the total outright ban in South Dakota again. As long as they stand, we stand, and we will stand and fight for women's privacy, women's freedom, the families in this country. And I think the bottom line here is they are out of step with the American public. They have overstepped on issues like this. And I'm confident, again, that the American public, that Colorado voters are going to step to the plate and defeat this initiative. But it's going to take all of us. Thank you very much.
Amendment 48 simply goes to